Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Independent Brokerage. I'm Howard Flashen, the broker and owner of Roundtable Realty.
And I'm Erin Salem, Director of Marketing Director for Roundtable Realty. How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Relaxing.
Yeah?
Low key.
Good.
Yep.
That's excellent.
We rode our bike to the park, and we had it was the kind where my wife on the way there had it where you ride it, you have the baby on the front.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can plug this thing in. It's like a third wheel, and the toddler rides behind you. So it's like this big long thing.
bike thing, yeah.
And about halfway there, she realized she didn't put enough air in the back tire. So I volunteered to ride it back, and it was very hard, like riding on the rim of a tire.
You got your exercise in for the month.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was really... And once you get going with momentum, I couldn't stop. I didn't think I'd get started.
I'm disappointed you didn't video that.
No, I was...
Maybe next time.
It wasn't even that far, but let me tell you, I'm feeling it today. I did not eat... we grilled out last night. We got some steaks and stuff from Publix.
Yeah.
Where shopping is a pleasure.
Right.
And we just grilled out.
Good. Well, we didn't do a whole lot of eating out. We did eat out Friday night. We went to Kazu Sushi in Mandarin.
Okay.
Everybody says it's the #1 sushi place in Mandarin. And it is. It's delicious regularly. And my kids actually love sushi. So they downed. Man, can kids rack up a sushi bill. I think they downed about $95 in sushi.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Our son started liking steak. It's like, dang it, that's like a flip of the switch. They go from a $5 meal to a $15 meal.
Yeah, it happens. It happens quickly when they acquire and you spend their whole childhood. Just try it, and then they try it, and you're like, oh, you like it?
Oh no, brutal.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, not good.
What else is new?
Nothing. There's a lawsuit I just read about.
I hope it's not involving us.
It is not.
Nice. Tell us all about it.
It's this guy. I've never even heard of this guy, Mauricio Umansky, who's like a husband of one of the Real Housewives husbands, and he works at a brokerage called the Agency.
Where's this?
California.
Okay.
Look at that home. You know it's California. Right?
Yeah, just so you guys get an idea, maybe I'll flash a picture on the screen. The home looks to be the size of my son's school.
And apparently he helped the seller, who was the vice president of Equatorial Guinea. Mm-hmm. He helped him sell that for $32.5 million. You'd think,
$32.5. That is a commission.
You'd think he'd be happy with that, right?
I would be.
He's suing because he says it should have sold for $70 million.
Okay.
But his accusation is interesting. He says that this Umansky fellow perhaps was in cahoots with the buyer.
Oh.
And they resold it a year later for more. So they flipped it.
They flipped a $30 million home?
Apparently. That's what the plaintiff is saying.
So, okay, the plaintiff is the person who owned the home.
Yeah.
And he is suing Umansky,
Yeah.
the realtor,
Yeah.
for allegedly selling the home.
Again.
At a...
I assume he had both sides of the deal.
Okay.
And then he went ahead and flipped it the next year.
For a bunch more money. So he thinks that it was a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's a sizable chunk of conspiracy.
It is a sizable chunk.
Well, so is there
of
anything wrong with that? Can they really prove anything?
So that's the question, right?
Yeah.
And that's a great question. That's kind of where I was going with this.
Well, that's my role on the show.
Yeah, well, you did great. Mm-hmm. So I'm holding two things here for Florida, because really all I know is Florida.
Okay.
And one is the Florida statutes on agency.
Okay.
So let's pretend this happened in Florida, because I don't know California law.
Okay.
So let's pretend this happened in Florida. Mm-hmm. And let's say Umansky did, in fact, work with the buyer. Okay?
Yeah.
Or perhaps you could argue, for this argument's sake, this scenario, Umansky was a partner in a company who perhaps bought the home.
Okay. So maybe a company bought the home.
Maybe.
He was a partner in that company, and therefore he benefited from selling the home.
And this is all hypothetical.
Right.
Yes. Well, in the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics. There's things that apply.
Yeah.
But there's also Florida statute if this were to have happened in Florida.
Okay.
And what would have occurred potentially in this case would have been the realtor. It's obviously not Umansky. I'm in this hypothetical, making it up in Florida. He would have owed the seller a duty as a no brokerage agreement.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
Okay. So if this gentleman, this realtor, represented a buyer, potentially a wholesaler or a iBuyer.
Okay.
And he was involved with said iBuyer as a single agent, and he comes to you, the seller, and says, I think your home, I could get you a cash offer right now for $200,000.
Okay.
Well, he better have told you that he was a single agent for the buyer.
Right.
And a no brokerage to you.
So what does no brokerage mean?
No brokerage means that they owe you the following things. They have to deal honestly and fairly. They have to disclose all known facts that materially affect the value of the home. And they have to account for all funds. But the thing is to deal honestly and fairly. So here's the problem.
Okay.
And I actually think that eventually you are going to see some savvy sellers sue some realtors and wholesalers.
Sally sells seashells, damn it.
Yeah.
Some savvy sellers sue some.
Yeah, someday.
Okay.
Okay. Because if they don't come to you and say it like this, if they don't come to you and say, I can get you a cash offer on your home for $200,000, but your home's worth a lot more than that.
Oh, okay.
Your home is worth $250,000.
Yeah, because notoriously we know that the iBuyers and the cash buyers can tend to offer less than what the value of them is, that they're going to close it quickly and get you the cash.
Right. So they have to say that to you.
Okay.
If they're not saying to you, your home is worth a lot more, I could list your home, not for $32 million. I could list your home today for $240,000. I think you would get $240,000, but you're going to have showings. You're going to have to be prepared for showings. You might have to deal with repair requests. There's going to be closing costs. So there potentially could be some inconvenience to that. But to maximize what market value might be, your home is worth $245,000. I can get you a cash offer today for $200,000. Oh, by the way, I'm a part of the company that can make that cash offer.
Okay. You have to be honest about all of that.
Yes, you have to deal honestly and fairly, even as a no broker to you.
Okay.
Now, if I'm a single agent to the buyer, I can only be a no broker to you.
You can't be a single agent for two people at the same time.
That's dual agency. It's illegal.
And that's illegal in the state of Florida.
That's right.
Okay.
So, if I'm not going to these lengths, and then in the Code of Ethics, there's things just in the preamble alone. It says, in instances where the opinion is sought or where realtors believe that comment is necessary, their opinion is offered in an objective, professional manner, uninfluenced by any personal motivation or potential advantage or gain.
Okay.
And it says in here, you're never not a realtor. Even on your own deals. Even if I am buying a home for my wife and kids.
Yeah.
I'm always a realtor first.
Yeah.
I have to present an honest and fair declaration to you of what your home might be worth according to state law, and no inducement of profit and no instruction from a client ever can justify departure from this ideal.
Okay. So what you're saying is, whether you're working for a company, an individual, your family, honesty is part of the deal. You're always a realtor.
Always. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean loyalty.
Nope.
You're not obligated to act as a fiduciary or a coach, as we use the football terms, but you are obligated to always be honest.
That's right. So
Okay.
if I mail out 6,000 mailers across the state of Florida looking for people to sell me their home cash today, and they call me up, and I have I'm a member of the Realtors Association, and I'm a licensed real estate agent in the state of Florida, I have a duty to do all of those things.
Right.
I'm not sure that's being done. I'm guessing that there are a lot of wholesalers, cash buyers who don't even know about this stuff.
Sure.
Okay, they
Yeah.
just think they're going to flip houses, and I've seen friends of mine on Facebook talking about how they're doing home flipping and all these things, and I'm always thinking, boy, I sure hope they're doing this.
Yeah, following the code of ethics that's clearly written out by the National Association of Realtors. It's pretty amazing to me that there could be people that aren't. I mean, it's a pretty highly regulated industry, but that doesn't account for the people that are just it for the money.
But there's a problem.
Okay.
The Realtors Association is a self-policing industry. So while I
Did not know that.
Yes. While I have to work and cooperate with all of these wonderful realtors in North Florida,
Yeah.
I'm also tasked with the idea of having to report them when they do things that are wrong. So that's a struggle. Why, if I'm reliant
Yeah.
on cooperating with some wonderful realtors out there, and most of them, I would say the great majority of realtors are terrific people, but you are tasked with this policement of trying to uphold the realtor's code of ethics and at the same time having great relationships with great people. FREC is a great, I've gone to many a FREC meeting. It really levies on how serious they take this industry, and I appreciate it. They've done a great job. They are rolling out some things this year with the team advertising law.
Luckily, Howard loves justice and
do.
and following the ethics. So as the marketing director, I am constantly creating flyers and digital media and all that stuff for our agents and the teams within our brokerage who are agents. And I have to follow the rules. Their names cannot be bigger than the name of their broker, Roundtable Realty.
Do you know why that is?
Well, sure, because if it's bigger, it could lead somebody to believe that you're the brokerage, that you're not operating under a brokerage.
So I was actually at the FREC meeting recently where they actually brought this up, and they had people from both sides who had really important opinions to give to the board. But basically the board ruled that, look, if somebody wants to file a complaint or somebody does something wrong and they are on a team, it has happened in the past where the person of the general public will call in to complain. Oh. They call the team and the team sweeps it under the rug. Now, I'm sure nobody does that in North Florida.
Sure.
But what they're saying is, no, that's not the way it should be. There should be what's called a brokerage. And they say repeatedly it's called the broker of liability. Okay. Yeah. They want a broker in charge that they can turn
is you.
to. Well, in this case,
in this case, you're the broker of liability. So if someone were to call, they should know, based on what the visual marketing or whatever other, printed information that the agents have given them, that Roundtable Realty is the brokerage. And that,
so that I can call up Susie Q and say, Susie, listen, you gotta change this, or what's going on?
You got a fishy agent.
As a matter of fact, the new advertising law for teams actually has some stuff that had nothing to do with advertising. Some of the stuff said, monthly the team has to report to the brokerage who the members are on that team every month. I don't know that that's ever been in place, that there's some sort of responsibility there.
Yeah. You
would think, but not always the case. So anyway, I just think that, this was obviously a hyperbolic explanation of what's going on. But you know what? There's a big business to be made in home flipping or wholesaling sometimes. They call it wholesaling. And there's nothing wrong with that business model if you're doing it the right way, ethically, disclosing to the right people what the values of the homes actually are.
Right.
And your role in it. You're doing the agency disclosures correctly. That's a great
There's
aspect
a place for that
they provide for some people who need to sell quickly without any hurdles, no repairs. We got to get this done quickly, that sort of thing. And in those cases, sometimes even if you had a realtor on your side, selling to an iBuyer or a wholesaler in those circumstances may be the right way to go.
Yeah.
I just hope that the wholesalers and the realtors that are involved
are being honest.
There's a lot of highlighting here that they're doing the things that they're supposed to do to make sure that they are doing things.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So when you're looking for a realtor, think about single agency. Ask the questions.
Call Howard.
Just call Howard.
Yeah.
Just call the brokerage. We'll take care of you.
Yeah. We got this.
Well, that was all really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And I feel like you got some of it.
I'm glad you feel that way. I think the iced tea in me understood a little more today.
It resonated.
Than I did yesterday. Absolutely. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your week. If you're looking for a realtor who's honest and can act as a single agent, you might want to call Roundtable Realty.
Why not?
And if you're just hanging out and watching us, enjoy the rest of your Monday.
Share, like,
subscribe, follow.
Tell your friends. Talk about it. Call in.
Stop by the office.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
See you next week.